All right. About time to get some perspective, huh? And where do you go for perspective around here? You go to the Politics by Faith podcast by my boy Mike Slater. It really just makes your day better. Helps you understand a little bit more of why we're going through what we're going through and that there are forces at work beyond just flesh and blood. No? Joining me now, my buddy Mike. All right, Mike, first, anxiety. This is something people struggle with. I have people in my own family who struggle mightily with it. If I had any feelings to speak of whatsoever, I may struggle with it, but it is something real for people, and I am aware that it consumes people. It does. It just owns your life. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, one solution is to just be a psychopath and
like
just don't have to worry about it at all. It's the Jesse Kelly approach. But if you're like a normal human being, then it's gonna be an issue. So that's our most recent podcast about anxiety. We got a lot of things to be anxious about. We got World War III all the time. You're just talking about that. We got economic issues. It's just nonstop. I was reading an article the other day about moms who are microdosing mushrooms. What? Like psilocybin magic mushrooms? Like what is going on? I mean, in the 60s and 70s, it was Valium and then edible marijuana and wine moms and now mushrooms. Like, holy cow, people will do anything to get away from their issues as opposed to just being a psychopath like Jesse. But we're like, what is this? What is it? There's a report from the Federal Reserve about where all the prime age working men are. And the Federal Reserve says, they're just all taking drugs and playing video games. Like, what? They're not being men. They're numbing out and not facing the realities of life. So I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to be taken out. There's people who hate you and forces at work, as you said, Jesse, that hate you and they want you anxious and they want you weak and they want you scared and they want you worried and they want to divide your mind so that they can confuse you and divide you politically and socially. And I don't want them to get away with that anymore. Anxiety, it's a Greek word. It's two Greek words combined. It means divided mind. So when you focus on one thing, you have shalom. That's peace and wholeness. But when you're anxious, you have a divided mind. Your attention chopped up into a million different pieces and you're all over the place and you're running through million different scenarios and it's just making you all anxious. And it'll mess you up. In the podcast, we read an excerpt from the Roman poet Ovid in Metamorphoses. He's writing about envy, but it's the same thing. Envy, anxiety, it's all like the root. And Athena goes to visit Envy, and Envy lives in this disgusting underground lair. And it's filthy and covered with this slime that stinks. And Athena asks Envy to go and attack this princess. And Envy leaves her lair and she leaves this path of destruction in her wake. And the fields are all withered behind her and venom drips from her disgusting corpse. And it's unbelievable how Ovid writes this, obviously. And then Envy touches the neck of this princess and instantly she becomes envious of her sister's marriage and it just eats away at her life and it rots away at her the rest of her life. And I share this and it's like, geez, Slater. But I share it because we need to hate it. We need to hate envy. We need to hate anxiety. We need to hate the people who are trying to divide us with these things. And when you see it as something portrayed so vividly, it's like, wow, like the point is to smack you across the face with it and say, I don't want this anymore. And I want to get to the root of it and get it out of my life. And I don't want to run from it. I don't want to run from it with video games. I don't want to run from it with magic mushrooms. I don't want to run from it. I want to get to the root of it, root it out, get rid of it so I can be a shalom, single focus minded person again and be effective in this life, not divided anymore.
Support the First TV today and get instant access to exclusive specials like Who is Ron DeSantis, the history of FBI scandals, and America's worst presidents. Visit thefirsttv.com/support or download the First TV app to become a supporter and start watching today.